taking a look at a movie today. The last few videos, they video game related content, and back to movies, at least for this video. Not too sure what I'll do next. This is Lord of the Rings, the War of... It's not the War of Rohan. What is the name of this movie? The War of the Rohirrim. I'm not 100% positive if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but that's what it says in the spine here. And this is the steelbook, so I have the J card. I'll move this over here for now. So I have the protagonist here is Hera and her grumpy father, Helm. He wields a hammer. I don't know if that's a coincidence or not, but... And then we have Rohan in the background, and take a look at the back here. And then Hammerhelm. Then I should have double checked his name in the back, and there's his trusty hammer. I'm not too sure why. He's an important character in the movie, but he's getting front and back status here. So this isn't continuous, is it? No, I don't think so. Well, that's not, but it almost feels like there's a flow there with the hillside, but I don't think... Well, maybe the storm clouds are supposed to be. Well, either way, you can make up your mind if you think that's continuous or not. So, take a look at the inside. So we have the 4K disc here, and take that out. And we have the Blu-ray. So the art looks really similar. I think the artwork's exactly the same. If I can actually pop this movie out. There we go. Let's take a look. Yeah, so the coloring's different, as you can see, but the disc art is the same. This disc art looks really reminiscent of the Lord of the Rings, Fellowship, Two Towers, discs, Return of the King. I want to say, well, no, I don't want to say they're just different colors, but it definitely is giving off those vibes. I didn't really give you a chance to look at the interior art now, did I? Oh. Well, life goes on. So, jeez, what's going on here? Here we go. My goodness. Okay. Alright, so here's the interior art. We have a map of Rohan as a refresher, and there's the cap of Rohan and Fangor Forest. This must be an official Rohan map. So I don't really know if the citizens of Rohan have one of these rolled up in their pocket or anything, and I'm like, oh, where the hell am I? Oh yeah, I'm near O. So, but pretty cool. I'll go ahead and put these discs back in. And let's take a look at that J card. So this being a Canadian release, we have English and French on the back. This is PG here, G in Quebec. I'm not too sure what it's rated in the States. Probably PG, I'm guessing. And man, that's a small font, huh? Can you see that? No, I don't think so. What a surprise. So Peter Jackson and Kenji Kamiyama present The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim. So Kenji Kamiyama, I think he's most well known for Ghost in the Shell, the standalone complex, but this would be the first movie I watched that he directed anyways. Yeah, tiny font. So 183 years before the original film trilogy, King Helm Hammerhand. Okay, so his first name's Helm, his surname's Hammerhand. I thought it was the opposite. Helm Hammerhand of Rohan defends the people from Wolf, a vengeful Denending. I'm not really a Lord of the Rings scholar, so forgive me my ignorance here. Forced into a last stand at the Hornburg, later known as Helm's Deep, Helm's daughter, Hera, leads the resistance against... Sorry, the lighting makes it hard to read this. Hera leads the resistance against an enemy determined to destroy them. The worst kind of enemy. So there's Hera again, and then Hammerhand and her two bros. This is the kind of like Thor-esque bro, the more brawny type, and her, more nimble ranger, pretty boy brother here. I forget their names. And then we have, dark and mysterious wolf. I forget a horse's name too. And there's Hammerhand again. So this to me is one of those, for fans only type movies. Like if you're not a big Lord of the Rings fan, there's no reason to watch this. There's really nothing compelling enough about the story to seek it out. And it's like one of those movies where, and if you're watching Two Towers and you're like, I wonder how Helm's Deep became Helm's Deep. Like if that thought crossed your mind at one point, then yeah, this movie's probably for you. But even saying that, it still ended up being disappointing for someone who generally really likes the Lord of the Rings movies. I read the books when I was in middle school, and then I hadn't read them since, so I don't remember any of this from the books. Saying it's 183 years before the movies, so I don't know if this is like entirely original or not. But it's long. It's way longer than you would expect. It's just under 2 hours before the credits hit, and the story just doesn't warrant it. It's a really stretched out story, and it felt like 90 minutes would have been ample time to tell this story. And it's strange because maybe they thought this is a slam dunk, like we need this much running time to tell this story, and they were afforded like a budget for a 90-minute movie or something, because that's what it feels like. It feels like I feel like they got like a budget for a 75-minute to a 90-minute movie for animation, and then that's like, oh well, we have a 2-hour story, and which I really feel like they don't. And as opposed to trying to trim it, and there's some moments in this movie like, yeah, this doesn't need to be here. They've been animated the whole thing, so, and it's not so much like, oh, it's missing. It feels like the animation's missing frames or anything like that. It's more a character would be like, fleeing, and you don't see what they're fleeing from. It's just not animated, which may not seem like that big of a deal, but it seems pretty conspicuous when you're watching. It feels like, oh yeah, we just didn't have the money to animate this entire sequence, so this is what you're getting. A character maybe half in frame or something because they don't want to animate the full animal, or characters are speaking with their back towards the camera because we're not animating their faces or anything. So it definitely comes up when you're watching it. It's hard not to notice the I don't want to say quality. I think the character designs are really well done, and the voice work. Like Brian Cox does a great job as Hammerhand here. I don't know who voices Hera, but Eowyn, the actress from Two Towers, or Lord of the Rings trilogy, she narrates the story, kind of bookends it with narration, and she voices one of the characters. I don't know the brothers who voiced them, but again, no issues with the voice work at all. It really was just like the animation, again, the story just stretched out. So, yeah, you'd have to be like a super fan, and I don't really feel like the synopsis in the back really does a good job. Actually, being a synopsis of the story, or at least explaining what happens in this movie. So, he's the king of Rohan, and Wolf here, the dark, mysterious fellow in the back, he's the son of, not like a warring tribe, but someone who falls under the king of Rohan, again, not like an expert on this stuff. And he's at the point where he needs to marry his daughter. She's not too keen on the idea. And this opposing clan, tribe, not entirely sure, Wolf extends his offer to marry her, to unify, and he's really not having it. They were childhood friends. Something dramatic happens, and then Wolf runs off to scheme and try to conquer Rohan. And Wolf is really petty, and I kind of got a kick out of him. And Hera, for the most part, doesn't have much. It doesn't seem like she has a lot of agency on her own. It's mostly things just like kind of reacting. She reacts to the events that unfold around her, so that was kind of disappointing in a sense. Brian Cox really chews it up as Hammerhand here, and there are some scenes though. Back to the animation, like almost seem like oversights where a character is fighting barehanded, and then like in the next scene they have a weapon. Again, so you're thinking, well, maybe that's, they picked up a weapon between scenes, but it doesn't really feel like that. A character is purposely scarred, like it's a scene where they're being deliberately scarred, but then they don't have a scar like going forward, like it doesn't actually scar them. So again, it feels more like an oversight. So there's little things like that. The score does have like the Rohan theme that Howard Shore, I don't know who composed the music for this, it wasn't Howard Shore, but the Rohan theme does find itself in quite a few scenes, which is fine by me. I really enjoy the music from Lord of the Rings. And it does have a really nice Atmos track. I wasn't really expecting that, but the Atmos track hits a lot harder than I was expecting. So, let's take a look at the back one more time here. Yeah, I guess, if you're into anime and you like Lord of the Rings, sure, why not? This is probably something I will sell. I end up getting it fairly cheap from, I think it's Groove. I hope it's Grove. It's probably Groove. But they had a sale just a few weekends ago, and I ended up picking it up. So pretty easily can sell it for what I paid for it. I just don't really see myself visiting it. Again, the story, the first third had me, and then it just keeps going and going, and nothing really compelling is happening. So, yeah, can't really recommend this one to casual fans. But again, if you're like, I want to know why it's called Helm's Deep, I've got to know, then hey, go for it. I think it's actually on streaming now too. At least here in Canada. I'm pretty sure it's on Amazon, maybe? I don't know about that, actually. Probably should look that up. Anyways, thanks for watching.